So yesterday, Penny, grab the container, please. Yesterday, thank you. My friend was here, and we ended up planting more tomatoes, more marigolds, potatoes, and I think that's it. I didn't film at all because I feel like the last 5 videos I've been planting my tomatoes out is getting a little redundant. I'm like, when am I gonna be finished planting tomatoes? So I put it's about to rain, and I just realized that my tomato clips I left out. You can go inside the hoop house, Nia. It's drizzling right now. I'm glad I came outside at this specific time. Oops. So I didn't get to plant all of the potatoes, so still have this container, but I did get the bag of tomatoes planted. Now, let's see. I left my tomato clip out here. At least I'll put it underneath the gazebo so it doesn't get rained on. Okay. So anyway, and then the last thing that we did yesterday was we started emptying my worm compost, my worm bin, because on Saturday at the farm where you live, I'm supposed to be teaching the children about worm composting, like build a compost bin with them. And in order to do that, I needed to dump my compost, my worm compost, and it was taking way longer than I thought because I guess I want to say because the soil was maybe too wet. I'll show you guys when I dump it, because we only got, I need to set you guys up somewhere. Can you get that one right there? So yesterday, we were using this, that red one right there. We were using this, like, screen that my husband made, and then we were picking out these little tiny worms. Nia's about to pick up one. So these are the red wigglers. And we dumped my worm bin. And we've been putting the worms in here. You can't even see them right now. So this is my worm composting. It's all messed up right now because we're digging in it yesterday, trying to shift it. But basically we need to shift all of this because there's so many more worms in there. I feel like we already got like 1,000 worms yesterday out of that little small container. I mean, amount of soil. But it was hard to kind of like shift it through because the soil was so wet, so kind of like shaking it wasn't working. But hopefully today, now that it's sat fluffed up overnight and stuff, I'm hoping that it will actually move better. We shall see. I'm gonna start pouring it. This is the only time that I actually feel like I need gloves. I know people comment all the time and on my videos and say, you know, I need gloves. I don't actually like wearing gloves. I would prefer not to wear gloves unless I'm touching like wet stuff like this. Ew. as long as you can put it in there. And I have Nehemiah with me because she doesn't mind touching the worms at all. Yes. What? Yes. So I want to show you guys what 1 scoop of compost, and you can already see that there's worms hanging right there. There is, let's see, turn it around. I wonder if you can see this. Hold on. Okay, so there's already a worm right there. My daughter already took the one that was hanging. But then there's more here. And then I just dropped some down here. Let's see. So I dropped that one right there. And then we're putting them in here. And once they get in there, they don't like the light, and so they start crawling down towards the middle. And you can't really see them because they're in the middle. But then there's there's probably like tens of thousands of worms in here because this is like 1/3 full. There's one right here. This got so wet because I had what's it called, rabbit manure that it didn't have holes at the bottom, and so it was mixed with like the rabbit urine with the manure, and then it rained one day, and so when I put it in here it was a little more wet than it was supposed to be, but I thought it would be fine. I hadn't planned on teaching or creating a worm bin, but they needed they wanted some more people to do like the kids area, and so I had volunteered, but I didn't know what I was going to do. And so Megan from Farm Where You Live, she gave me some ideas, and so I had looked up some, and so I saw like compost in a cup, which I thought would be a good idea. And since I had worms already, I'm like, oh, I don't have to do anything, I have worms already. So that is how I ended up. That's a big fat one. So that's how I ended up doing this. But it was perfect timing because I needed to get my worm composting out, because I do want to make compost tea with this. So like once you get it out, the compost that comes out the bottom, you could put it in a little baggie. And I want to make like a 5-gallon, there's a bunch of worms right there. I want to make a 5-gallon worm worm compost tea, and then spray it all over my garden. And I think it would be the perfect time to do that, since it is the beginning of the season, to just add all of that good what is it called? Microbiome? Is that what it's called? Just to add all of the good nutrients to the soil. There's a lot of big sticks in here, and so I'm just like moving it across the grate to like take out the little pieces. Depending on how much time I have today. So then I just take out the big pieces and put it in this bucket, and I'm going to reuse that on Saturday. And depending on how much time I have, I probably won't get this whole bucket done, but I'm pretty sure that I have enough worms in here to start a new composting bin for Saturday. And then I'll just have to, you see all the worms? And then I'll just have to keep at this one and maybe add in some peat moss to kind of dry it up.
How is that? Does it have no worms?
I didn't really want to create a second worm composting bin because I already have a hard time keeping up with this one. I'm not like a super organized person when it comes down to like oh, I should in 8 weeks check my worm composting bin. I never do it in a timely manner, and so I didn't really want a second composting bin to have to look out for, but maybe I could get that one away.
So much worms.
There's so much worms. Yeah, they'll crawl to the bottom. Do you guys have worm composting bins at your house? They're so easy to keep. I've had mine in the garage. Oops, I put it in the wrong bin. I've had mine in the garage. I've had mine outside. I've had mine in this greenhouse. They don't like to be super cold.
I see the worm. I need to pick that worm.
But I found that, and they don't smell, so like you can keep it. I saw people keep it like underneath their sink. Like I said, you can keep it in your garage. I follow Natalie from Hey It's a Good Life, and I videoed her last year at the, where was we? We were at, was it Roy Freaks event in June. I filmed that. It's on YouTube, and she did a demonstration on her making the worm composting worm tea, and I have her ebook and all the things. So
I think it's stuck on my finger.
That is who I follow for all the worming advice, because I'm so new to this.
Let's see.
Get it. Okay, we have finished. We're on the last little bit of compost. I'm going to turn you around and show you. So we have this whole container. You still see some worms like right here at the top making their way down, and you can see some in there. I might go ahead and change this to a gallon container that I have inside. This is all of the chips that were too big to go through, and then I've just been putting them in here. Actually, there's a worm right there. I'm pretty sure we might have missed some worms in there. For the most part, we tried not to. And then this whole container right here, you can see that whole big circle is worms. Let me pour it out into here, and you can really see it. Like, all of that is worms. Let me take out this plastic. And there's still some down here. So this is what I'm going to be bringing to the conference with me to start a new worm composting bin. So I spreaded it out so that you guys can see. It's probably even close to halfway full of this pool. And so this is all compost that I can use and put in the garden. As I was spreading it out, we were finding some baby worms. Like, there's one right there, and we're just putting them in there. I found another one. They obviously, if they're really small babies, they can fall through, but for the most part we try to prevent any of them from falling through. I'm pretty sure these white circles are worm babies, but the rest of this is compost that is ready to use. I'm going to probably tomorrow I'll probably, or I guess it would be Monday because I won't be here, we'll probably show you guys how I'm going to make the worm tea, is called, where you put it in a little baggie, you put it in the 5-gallon bucket, let it aerate, which I already have the aerated pump to let it bubble and stuff, and I think you let it sit for, I'm not sure, I have to look it up if it's a day or 3 days, and then I can spray it all over my garden and feed the leaves, have a foliar feeding, and then with this compost I can spread it out throughout the plants that I've already planted, and it's filled with all of this biology. I can just see all of the little actions of stuff moving in here. I'm so happy that we finally got this done. We did end up adding peat moss into the container because the container was so wet, and that just made it go by so much faster by adding peat moss, because peat moss is really dry. And by adding the peat moss, it made the wet compost more kind of just like mid temperature, or I mean not temperature, consistency, which is what you want. Like when you squeeze it, it's just like damp, it holds itself, but then you can crumble it, and then that helped a bunch. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get everything packed up for what I'm gonna need to bring with me, which is going to be these worms, the containers. It's getting really windy. I'll bring the worms, the container that I need. I'll probably clean it so that it's not super dirty. I'm gonna need some cardboard to go at the bottom, some shredded paper, and then all of this that I took out of the container, which was like wood chips and leaves. I'm gonna put that back in there as well to build this back up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today as we got this worm compost bin cleared out. It made the time go by so much faster talking to you guys, because yesterday I was trying to do it with my friend, and I couldn't remember how I did it last time when I feel like the soil was too wet, and then I remembered that I added peat moss to help the soil get a little more dry, added dry peat moss. And so it went by so much faster today. And then yesterday was just me and my friend doing it, and that was at the end of the day of planting and everything, and so we were super wiped out and just really, really tired. My legs was hurting. Even today my legs were hurting, my back was hurting. I felt like I couldn't get comfortable. So yeah, but having more hands helped, so it was all of my little girls helping me, which made it go by so much faster, and I appreciate it so much. Now I feel so much more confident, knowing that I have everything done, and tomorrow or Saturday when it is time to do the conference, I'll have everything that I need situated in the greenhouse. So we sat everything in here. So I just covered the compost because it is really, really warm in here and I don't want to kind of bake the soil. So I covered it with the cardboard that came out of there and the lid from this container. But this is the stuff I'll need. I won't need the shovels, but I'll need, like I said, the container to put the worm back in with the clear container because I'll probably give one away, like a small version. And then the bottom, or actually now that I thought about it, I'd probably leave the bottom here because I think we're driving the truck. I don't know what we'll do, but I know I have that stuff situated and already done. I'm gonna go ahead and check while I'm out here the the rabbit manure, because I probably will add some rabbit manure in my container. I did add rabbit manure in my last container. Yeah, there's lots of rabbit manure back here. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out while we emptied that worm composting bin and chatting with me, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.